Hey guys, welcome. My name is George Nassa. Today what I'm going to show you is how to make a very nice component. So we're going to start with the new project or open an existing project. So let's just open an existing project. We're going to go to the models, and this time we're going to go to this tool here. Okay, it's called Create Rotary Flush Blank. So it's very important to pay attention to these options. We select the size, the diamond, and this one is going to tell you the diameter, what size stone you want, and so forth. So let's make 8.0, which is a 2 carat. So let's do this 8.0. Give it the height, if that's good enough height for you. The depth, that's fine. Accept. So now these are very important values. So you want to enter them in here. You could change the name. Okay. Center head or basket. Okay. And that gives you the allowance up here. Each one kind of self-explanatory. The wall thickness and the angle, which angle you want it to be at. 75, let's make it a little bit steeper, so 65 degrees, and we're going to accept it. Okay, so now we're looking at this here. Actually, it was created. You can see it was a nice angle just the way we requested. Okay, so we're going to accept that. So now what we're going to do, we don't want this here. We want to work on the actual relief itself. Okay, so now we're looking at it here. So a few things I like to get rid of out of the way. I would get rid of these. Okay, because I really don't need them. Okay, because it already was created for us. This couple here, just so they're not in the way later. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna draw our prawns. Okay, so we're gonna do the prawns here. Okay, we're gonna F9 for center, and we could nudge or A for arc to arc it up here. Just bring it down, so we have a nice, arc to it, or you can leave it completely straight. L for line, and you can bring this up. Okay, so just make sure it's even with that, and same thing on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to paste 5 of these because we want 4 prawns. So what it's going to do is going to give us half here and half here, so that creates 1 full prawn. So we're going to take this prawn that we created, hold the shift key down, select the center line, and we're going to paste, and we're going to do a specific number, and we're going to do 5, now 4, and you're going to end up with 4 prawns. So this is our basket. As I said, right now we're looking at it, we're only looking at this. Okay, so there's not much there. It's just a simple round cylinder. Okay, if you want to mount it as a bezel, it's nice, but that's not what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so what we're going to do is right now we're going to raise our prawns. F12. We could give it a little bit of dome look to it. You can see how they were created. And we give it a little bit of start height, so 0.20 or 0.10. Okay, because I don't want them too thick, because we still have the thicknesses, just to give them a little bit of shape. Okay, and we could raise this up. Alright, so apply and cancel. Now, so this was here, actually was in the subtract mode, so let's go back to this here, F12, and make sure it's in the, see it was in the subtract mode, so let's make sure it's in the add mode. Alright, so we're going to do the start height again, 10, didn't take, let's try it again here. Okay, this is what we're looking for. Okay, alright, so apply and cancel. So now how our pendant is starting to take shape, which is the center. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to pop these. We don't want these. We're going to open them up. So you can see, make sure they're right on the edges. Hold the shift key down and the alt and bring it over. So that gives us 2, and make sure they're nice and even with the prawns. Okay. Click on the center line, hold the shift key down and select those 2 that we just created. and copy to the right. Use the mirror tool. Now select all 4 of them, only 4, right click and group them, and we could punch them through. So we're going to 0 this. You can see now how we created the pendant. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to take here, we're going to add either stones, or we could add add something that you would want. Okay, so let's just I'm going to give you a few examples. We could go here. All right, so that's one here. Hold the shift key down. Okay, and we're going to copy this. Hold the shift key, hold the center line, hold the shift key down, hold this copy, and mirror to the right. I just want to show you just one, just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to select them, hold the shift key down, select both, and 0 this. So now you can see our pendant has holes in it. Okay, looks nice. So that's, but you repeat the same thing if you want all 4. So I'm going to Control Z and I'm going to go back. I just wanted you to have something to look at, to see how you could actually modify this pendant. So hold the Control and the Alt key down and bring one copy over. Okay, and make sure it's even. And you could either copy it over or just copy this guy by holding the Control and the Alt key down on the keyboard and bring this over. Okay, so make sure that's. So what we're going to do, we're going to take all 4. Make sure you don't select the center line. Right click and group them. And we're going to sync them down slightly. So let's do F12. And we're going to bring them down 0.50 and make sure it's in the subtract mode. Alright, so that's apply and cancel. So you can see that brought it down. Now we could actually do our prongs, and we could do our diamonds. But it's very easy to do the prongs. I'm going to give you an example, but I'm just going to show you how to add the diamonds very quickly. Okay, just for the sake of the tutorial. Okay, you could do the prongs here. Okay, and we could add, our stones here. You could do one stone. So get this out of the way. And let's draw a line right across, right in the center. Okay, and we're going to paste this along this here. So the width of this it's 1.45. So hold the shift key down, select the center line, go to paste along, and give it specific distance. 1.45. I like to be a little bit bigger, and paste it. So you can see it pasted out stones, but there's stones here on the prawn, so we're going to select them, right click, ungroup them, but don't let go yet. Just hold the shift key down so you could unselect the ones that you don't want, because you could either group them much faster instead of reselecting all of them. But by holding the shift key down, that controls all the vectors that you created. Okay, so let's get rid of these, because we don't want these on the prawns. These don't matter. Okay, so whatever is left, so you could either group them or move them all to the side. But what we're going to do, we're just going to let go. So we're going to delete the ones we don't want. Okay, I'm just giving you different options how you could actually maneuver this. Okay, so normally I would do it much faster, and so you could space them perfectly. Okay, so let's add these 3 here. These 3, you could add 4. You could use, you could afford to add like 4 here. You can see you could add more than just 3. I'm just giving you different options. Okay, get rid of this, get rid of that. So we're gonna go here, move these over. Okay, but this is your prawn. You could actually add them by holding the control key down, and you could add different prawns to each stone. Okay, so but I'm not gonna go over that, but it's very easy to do. So that's pretty much our pendant is done. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you, before we do this, let me just show you what it looks like. Okay, so we're looking at that pendant, or the center basket. You see this here, the stone. We're gonna select these. Okay, make sure only the The round ones are selected. Right click and group them right away. So now we're gonna, by selecting the brilliant, which is the actual gem, and we're gonna select the vectors. We're gonna go to this component, copy component to vectors, and we're gonna paste those stones. Okay. So just because this one here was off, everything else was off. So I just want you to see what happened. Okay, I'm gonna show you how the stones will light up once you light this up. Okay, you can see them, they sitting on there. Okay, let's get rid of this. You can see the gems are part of it. All right, let's shut this off. Okay, so but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control Z. Watch these here. Okay, so anything I did is going to take it back. Okay, so everything went back. So what we're going to do, make sure this is on. This, okay. So make sure this is on. All right, and now when you copy, everything comes on very evenly. So we're going to select the actual vectors, and we're going to copy component and say OK. Okay, some were off, so let's see. Should have copied all of them. Okay. Right, so that's very important that if you pay attention to these, so make sure this one is always on for it to copy over. Okay, so I'm going to delete those. I don't need them. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add an actual name inside there. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of these. Again, just to give you some examples. We're going to go to the text. We're going to type in something in here. And we're going to shrink it down so it fits inside here. Okay, so let's make it a little bigger. So that fits pretty good. So see, sometimes when you let go very quickly, it doesn't take till you say apply. So let's create, so that doesn't happen. We're gonna bring this up here, T, and let's make this. So that way we know it's gonna take right away. So make sure the edges are touching. All right, so that's, move it over a little bit. All right, so let's copy, hold the shift key down, copy this. That's going to copy it backwards. So it's very important that you have to reverse it. Okay, so we're going to copy to the right. You'll notice it's backwards. So we're going to grab it, press T. Okay, grab one of those nodes. Okay, and just bring it over. Let me shut this so you can see how it flipped it. Okay, so now we're going to hold the control key and the alt at the same time. We're going to copy one over. Okay, we're going to repeat this the same thing. Control alt and click on the left mouse button, and that will bring it over. So that will copy everything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inside of this. So before I do that, I'm going to draw a small box on the inside here. You can see how it snaps, snaps, snaps. And we repeat the same thing on all four. Okay, so snap, or you could just copy, whatever is easier. Alright, so hold the center line, hold the shift key down, one and two boxes, and copy them over. Okay, now we have all four boxes. One, hold the shift key down. Two, click with the left mouse button, and that selects all of them. Right click and group. And make sure you repeat the same thing for the name by holding the shift key down on the keyboard. Right click and group them. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to click on this here, the toggle relief preview. We're going to get our colors. We're going to select the color. First, we're going to do the box, the background. So any color you want, go to flood fill and fill it, and go to the name, pick a different color, any color, and flood fill that. So now you have two different colors. What I'm going to do is I'm going to punch just the red through. So I'm going to double click on the red. Okay, you could either raise it or you could just minus it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool here. It's a zero under color. So just whatever the color here, make sure the color that you want to punch, which is red, make sure it's up here, and you punch that through. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Okay, it's pretty nice. You could actually add, diamonds up here, whatever. Like I said, just the options that you have. But if you notice, our prawn's a little bit thick here, so we're going to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, let's bring this back so we know what we're looking at. We're going to go to the model. We're going to go to the back relief. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to draw a line all the way across this. So you could actually, if you like, you could get rid of, just move these out of the way, just so we'll know where we are. So I'm going to draw my line from there to there and just get really just the top. Okay. So snap here, come down maybe what, 1 millimeter. Okay. So we're going to press F12 so to make sure we're in the back relief. So F12, before we do that, let's actually create a new layer. All right, so let's close this. By clicking here, you create a new layer. Here's the new layer. Click on it once and just call it back bronze. Okay. So now while we're in the back bronze, we're going to select this, press F12, and we're going to give this an actual, we're going to add to it. Okay, we're going to give this 0.50, but we're going to watch it live, okay, see what happens. Okay, if this takes place. You can see how it punched it back. Now you could adjust it any way you wish. You can see how it grooved it. You could actually bring down the lines. Okay, let's look at it from a different view so we can see what we're doing. Okay, and let's try this view. Okay, so we could just bring these down here. So let's select these two. Okay, and we can watch how it's going to change. See how it's changing right here? Now watch this. As I go down, I watch it and I stop where I need it. Okay, that's one more notch and that's pretty good. See how I brought it down? And if you want to take this up more, maybe inward, you could actually give it a little bit more height here. But I'm happy right there, so that's pretty good. So apply and cancel. Okay, so now this is where our head looks like. It's a little bit thinner, it's not so bulky, but if you want it thinner, just give it a little bit more height, that will push it through. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to add it to the create a mesh so we could add it to a center head. Okay, so we're going to create a mesh. Go here and make sure you close it with the back relief. So let's look at it. So here's our pendant. Let's get rid of this. You can see, I mean, we could have just went up a little bit to get rid of that stuff on top. Okay, so that's fine. So create, add to project, and close it. Okay, so there's our basket, and this is our actual mesh. Okay, let's bring this here. And this is our gem. We could actually bring the gem down and we could close the actual basket if we want. Okay, here's the gem. So you could take the gem and nudge it down. Okay, let's go to transform, it's much faster. So we could bring the gem down. You can see the gem. Make sure it's highlighted. Let's bring it up just to here. And we can make it a little bit larger. Okay, so by selecting it, go to this tool scale. And let's give this a 9 millimeter. Just because we pushed it back. Okay. And same height, apply. And that makes it a little bit bigger. So you could play with it until the height. The reason it was, the gem is a little smaller now because we pushed our prongs back. Okay, so we could go a little bit more. So scale. Okay, so now let's make it 10 here, 10 here, 10, 10. Apply, and that gem looks a lot better. Okay, so now let's add a shank to this. Okay, first let's shut this down. So the center basket, this is the basket down here. That's shutting the gem. So let's move our gems out of there. Let's take this gem and copy it. Right click, copy, and let's paste it into this basket. Okay, so that way we could shut this guy without interfering with the gem. Okay, so now we have an extra gem, so we don't even need these. You could actually delete them. Okay, so now we have our basket. We're going to bring in our shank. You could actually create your own shank, but this is the shank library. It's underneath here. You could do different shanks and different width and different styles you could bring in. Okay, so let's bring this shank. So let's bring something nice, like, okay, let's bring this guy in. You could give it a width, 8 millimeter, that's fine, because that's the width of the stone import. So this is our shank, you can see. Alright, now we can nudge our basket. So make sure when you nudge the basket and in the gem, you can see the basket and the gems, make sure you nudge them together so they both have to go. So let's bring this inside. Okay, let's shut this. Alright, so make sure everything's together. We're going to select that. We're going to nudge it up. Okay, we're going to grab it and bring it up. Okay, let's look at it from this view. And we're going to rotate it. Okay, so let's rotate it to fit anyway. So from here, so these are the 4 prongs here. You can see what it looks like. It could go up a little bit higher. Okay, you could play with it, but that's pretty good. Okay, and see, you could raise it a little bit high, but that looks pretty good. But again, you could modify it, raise this up as high as you want, and so forth. But I hope you enjoyed this, and that concludes our component. And normally this will not take this long. Honestly, this will take me probably a total of 5 minutes to build this whole thing. But when you're trying to explain it through a tutorial, it takes a little bit longer. But normally I could fly through this very fast. So I hope you enjoy this, and please don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.